Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tastemade Presents Table Setting. I'm Kate Green.
And I'm Max Block.
And we're coming to you from our sunny studios in Santa Monica, California.
As always, we'll be looking at the ways in which kitchen and culture collide with some of the food world's most inspiring personalities.
This week, we'll be chatting about societal shifts through food with Roy Choi, chef and creator of Kogi and star of KCET and Tastemade's Broken Bread.
Our very own Tastemade. On today's show, we'll tackle food-driven social issues as well as the industry as a platform for activism. Activism. Welcome, Roy.
Hello, Roy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'll hold this pillow like we're at home.
I mean, it's
Make,
supposed to
make yourself at home,
That's
chef.
why we've got the bar. It's supposed to feel like we've just had like our own kind of dinner party thing.
Yeah.
This is how we host dinner parties, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, just very formal with microphones that you can't see each other.
Where you can't see each other.
So you've obviously been in the industry for quite some time.
Yeah.
At what point did it kind of dawn on you to make the shift from just feeding people to taking on a more
That's like when the
activist
homies
role?
call me OG. That means you're old.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're not trying to be offensive.
Yeah. What was the question?
So when did you make the shift from realizing just feeding people was enough to
Yeah.
having a more activist role?
I didn't really have a conscious role in the actual decision because life pushed its foot right on my chest, and that was the Kogi truck.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, I had always had these philosophies and these ideologies about life and this idealism about life, but I don't think I was ever in a position to execute them or feel like I was a person that was important enough or powerful enough or in a position enough to do anything. I just was working, you know, in a job, and then I lost everything and started selling tacos on the street, and the universe opened up. Thousands of people on the street every day, lives changing. I'm hearing echoing stories of everyone. It was like a horror film, like people walking out of their offices, starting buttermilk biscuit trucks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and like it just, that's the moment I knew that like I latched on to some different train and I wasn't coming back, you know. And so I figured that out very early on, probably within the first or second month of Kogi. I just saw that the lines were getting bigger, the look in the eye and the conversations and the energy we were sharing with each other on the street was becoming stronger and stronger, and I could tell that I was a part of some sort of movement, and I just G'd up to that shit, man. You know, I don't know how other way to put it, but I just G'd up to it, you know, and I faced it, and then I took it on, you know. Young cooks do that when they're learning a station,
Yeah.
you know, like it was just something that I rose to, you know.
So, obviously, you have this role in making communities better, right? That's what you're striving to do, is help
Yeah.
the community. When the press doesn't support that or understand where you're coming from, how do you still push forward? How do you still just keep going and
Yeah, you know, there's
stay on the path?
you know, I'm a human, and like in my old age, I've become very like gentle and thoughtful and mindful about the world and myself. But I'm still human, and I still go off on people that push my buttons, and I just feel like sometimes, especially the food media and also the larger media, they don't understand the situations that we are a part of in the organizations that I'm involved with are the same situations and neighborhoods and environments that have been created through propaganda and through big time media and through corporations and through lack of access. And these are situations that have been designed and curated and created that are really hard to get out of. And so when anyone tries to do something in that environment, and if you just automatically give it the same treatment as you would anything else that had maybe a little bit more level of privilege to do something, you are really, really hurting people, and you're hurting something that is not fair. You know, the inner cities within our country, the segregation and the marginalization of people of color within our country, especially the African American community, especially the communities of immigrants, and these are situations where we're just out there trying to do anything we can to make it a little bit better. And if you just take the line of like, well, I'm just doing my job and saying it closed, you know what? Like what you're doing is you're perpetuating an idealism or an idea that is controlled by a dominant culture's way of using language and semantics to separate us. So the reason why I get so agitated is because some shit doesn't apply to other shit. You can't just say, I know why that's a failure, or that closed, or that's done, that's kaput, that's over, because you have to understand context. I guess that was a long way for me to reach a point of like, you have to understand context. And when you say something, words matter.
Right.
And sometimes if you're in a position where those words don't affect you and you have the freedom to say whatever you want to say, sometimes you got to think about the power of that and the effects of what you're saying, because you don't understand the whole story. You don't understand that something is not just black and white, that there are struggles, and that things sometimes you have trials and tribulations. You have ebbs and flows. You have ups and downs in life. And sometimes a down doesn't mean that it's out. It means that you just
Push
need a
forward
moment, man.
yeah.
You need to brush off some shit and just get up and
Keep going.
keep going. And that's that type of thing, with especially now where our food media has gone, is something that is not put into consideration, and not many people have the voice to talk back. And I got that voice, so I talk back.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean,
That's all.
Media right now, it's very clickbaity. Like they want to get the
Yeah.
news out first, and there's certain outlets that don't necessarily fact check or look for all of the stories. So it's kind of on you or people that are engaged with these concepts to kind of take, food as a catalyst for change in their own hands.
But not everyone has that voice.
No.
You know? Not everyone. We work in the restaurant industry. Think about all the people in the back of the house. Their stories are never told, all of our folks that are with us, that we rely on, that are our family, their perspectives and their ideals and their opinions are never a part of dominant food media and journalism. And I'm just taking the responsibility of being a bridge between the two, because I got feet in both worlds.
Yep.
Which is rare. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of people doing that, which obviously I very, very much respect.
That's why I'm on this couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
Happy to
guest.
have you.
I'm just like, no, but
So kind of shifting gears and talking about sustainability, right?
Yeah.
That's also important in what everyone strives to do in restaurants. Food waste is becoming a huge problem. Do you have any programs implemented in what you do to kind of tackle that part of the problem?
yeah, well, the show itself, Broken Bread, has a whole episode devoted to waste. And we look at it through the lens of homelessness, feeding people, growing, production, and hunger. And so we try to pose questions like 40 to 60% of the food that we produce gets thrown away for whatever reason,
Insane.
right? But yet we have millions of people that go starving every night on the streets, right? And so we're not trying to point fingers in the show. We're just trying to pose those questions. Does that math make sense? You know what I mean? Does that math add up? And it doesn't. So then we go out and search for people that also believe that math doesn't add up and are doing something about it, whether it's taking food the leftover from a banquet or whatever the case may be, and then repurposing that into food for the homeless. Whether it's looking at just all kinds of other stuff that involve waste and overconsumption. I just think that we waste too much. And what's weird is we're constantly growing. Like, even if you take it in the context of food media, we love talking about all the new restaurants that open, music festivals, food festivals. Everything's becoming larger and larger and larger. And these are really conscious, woke individuals that are attending these things. This is the next generation. These are people that care about these things. But we get blinders and we get lost when the stuff caters to our own ideologies. What I mean by that is what I learned through the show is, and what we all know, is how bad an impact a hamburger has on the environment. And even the wokest of the woke of us will still post a gram of our double melting in our hand, or we'll go to these festivals and we'll just take one bite and throw away, and then discard everything. And as these music festivals and other festivals get bigger and bigger and more more connected to what is popular culture, we're creating more and more food environments, but we're not thinking about the waste. So we're in a position where we've inherited waste, and we've inherited the mistakes of our ancestors in previous generations. But at the same time, we've put a new window dressing on it, but we're still committing those same mistakes. And so this show is a little bit about addressing all of that.
How are you finding the people that you're showcasing? Are there, are these stories that you've heard that people have reached out to you that you've just kind of said this is a person that needs the platform?
Yeah.
Or how are you kind of discovering these people?
There was a collective kind of three-prong approach. One, you have to think about, when you think of Broken Bread, you have to think about the two partners that I did it with, right? So I always had this outlook and vision and kind of lens of life. And then you have an organization like public television. Public television is a gift of humankind that we've created collectively as humans that doesn't get enough support and credit, man. Like, the one truth that we have as humans amongst each other is public television, because in public television, you have the resources and the North Star to tell the truth and to tell the whole story. And these are things that will shape our whole lives,
Sure.
And so you have public television. I have all of the resources of public television. I have the trust of public television at KCET. It was like, I was telling Natasha, it was like Dumbledore handing me a
We
wand.
love a Harry Potter reference.
Yeah, a wand, man. It was like,
So was it
Public
important
tele-
that it had to be, for you, would it have been any other platform besides public television?
no, but you have to take into context that public television has the resources and the mindset and the platform to be able to take the stories all the way.
Sure.
Then you have Tastemade, this global media company that cares about this stuff, that speaks directly to the young audience and the next generation, and also the current generation that cares, and speaks in a nanosecond and speaks around the world
Right.
in the moment. And then so now we have these combined with myself, and we go out and we just try to make something very powerful that's entertaining that people want to watch.
Yeah.
And so, what are some of the biggest takeaways you've had from the show? Are there any things that really stand out in your mind as a big takeaway that really affected you with the people that you met and the stories that you saw?
I would say that how close we are to fixing a lot of these issues.
Okay.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we get to these issues and we think that they're way bigger than us, or that we can't affect any change. But in the show, what you'll see is how close we are as personal in storytelling, where you see where one pizza shop could change a young adult's life, a teenager's life on the street. And by you supporting that pizza shop, and by the pizza shop owner, who's Mar Diego, believing in her message, and then the kids believing in her, how you can see a whole community of kids that could possibly die or have committed suicide, that have now found a new purpose in life, and have found their own true self. And you'll see it in this episode, the way that that E-Man and J-Boy and Coca talk about themselves now as to where they were. So you see it in that, but you also see it on a big scale, like a company like Beyond Meat that we covered, that just went public today, where you see them affecting widespread consumerism towards a plant-based diet, and really showing you the facts of what it takes to make one hamburger, and how much water we waste, and how much we ruin the soil and the earth. And you see them doing something about it. You also see in the first episode, in Transformation, you see someone like Father Boyle at Homeboy Industries, and they've been around for 30 years. So sometimes we forget the core values and fabrics of the movement, and you go in and you realize the movement's even stronger now than it's ever been, and you see how that affects everyone's lives. And so, yeah, those things were surprising for me. The most surprising thing was me not hating this new generation of stoners on the cannabis episode. That was probably the most surprising to me, because I'm like kind of an old school stoner, and like I'm still like bong, pipe, paper.
No vape pen.
Yeah, I wasn't
vape
really
pen,
vape pen. I don't like being on lists and shit. Like,
Yeah.
so I never really got into dispensaries. I don't even got like TSA pre-check or like global entry and none of shit like that. Because I just have these Minority Report dreams and stuff. Like, I won't be on no list. Like,
Yeah.
if shit goes
Yeah.
down. And so I had to confront all that, like, on the show. Like, I got on a list, and like, I went to a dinner where no one liked being stoned, but they liked eating CBD food. And then, like, my old self would have been like, "What the fuck, yo?" You know, like I would have been like so mad. And then, but then I got past that stereotype, and I got to really see the new generation of stoners. I realized they're just stoners like me. They just do it different, you know. And then that taught me so much. So now I'm like into tinctures and edibles and topicals, and I still think like the topical game and lotion game is still a little bit of snake oil, but I think the edible game has really found itself, you know.
So Kogi CBD is
Yay,
Wave
I'm
the
not mad at it
future.
anymore, man. I feel like I thought it was too bougie and stuff. I thought it was like the weed world was getting too bougie, but then I really confronted that in the episode and really got to look at my old get off my lawn self, you know, and like just like open
Now you're
up
like,
to that.
welcome.
I'm like, well, I'm like, cool, man. Shit, I brought Coronas to the party, you
Right.
know, and so yeah.
a lot of the show provides people with almost the resources, the roadmap for them to make effective changes within their life. You know, like,
Yeah.
is there anything that you've taken as a takeaway for yourself personally? Like, have you? I mean, obviously you haven't stopped eating red meat, but like, you know, are there things that you think that people? What are the things that you want people to kind of walk
Well,
away from the show?
it actually has affected my diet. I've really made a conscious effort. We did a whole episode called Future, where we looked at a world that could there be a world that is plant-based, you know, and what are the challenges to that? We also looked at the show in a way where I talked with the director a lot, and the director's name is James Mann. He was very, very influential in the show, like the relationship between him and I. But we talked about, like, let's take a look at how we filmed the show and look at it like a time capsule. Let's cover all these things, but let's say we put it in a vault for 50 years and we came back, and like we look at it and we'd be like, whoa, like we used to kill that many cows, we used to kill that many pigs, we used to like grow that much corn, we used to eat that much sugar. People used to die at 50 for these cancer-related diseases that we had no idea where they came from, but they came from the food that we ate. That was the world we created for ourselves. Like, wow, that's crazy. Because we were like, okay, let's imagine this world where we have made these choices that eradicated all those corporate choices that kind of created this existence we have now. So we looked at it in that way, and what was the question again? I lost my train of thought. But there was a gem right there, but there was a second part to it. What was
it
the
was just
question?
like, when people watch the show, what do you want them to take away from it? Like, how can they? Now you're giving us a roadmap of what are these changes that need to kind of be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
What can people do, you know, to affect those
involved?
changes? Yeah, to get involved.
Get involved.
Yeah, you know, you can just get involved by, like, I think the first thing to get involved with the show is to watch it. Like, we really went out on a limb to talk about and show these topics that really matter, that are, you know, like, the thing that was surprising for me is like I learned so much, you guys. Like, I learned really what it costs to eat a hamburger, you know. And I knew these things in the back of my head and stuff like that, but I'm no Michael Pollan, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just pop you for the streets, man. You know, like, I'm no Michael. I'm no Harold McGee, you know. And so, like, I knew these things, but I didn't really know these things. And then, like, through the show, I got to know these things. And, like, by knowing these things, I hope this is what the show does, is, like, now that I know, I'm like, hell no, man. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
going to eat that many hamburgers. You know?
Right.
I'm not gonna do it like that. So it's like, I think this show, and by making those choices, we collectively can make a difference, and that's what this show will do. It inspired me again that, you know, I got to this couch right here by selling one taco at a time. You know, like, I'd never, you know, Nancy was making each loaf. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a moment in time where you are making one of one. You know. And that's what a lot of these people are doing right now. Olympia Set, a supermarket, delivering one organic fruit basket at a time throughout South Central Los Angeles. You have Mar Diego serving one pizza at a time, that's keeping one kid at a time employed. And these things are really, really inspiring. You know what I mean? And that was the part where it re-inspired me that, you know, even after 11 years, the things that I fought for are still, like, fresh and new, and there's a whole new generation that are fighting for those things as well, you know, so. That part was really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a great. I mean, it's such a weird place to now pivot to the quick fire question because obviously we are a podcast, so we have to have this.
You don't have to have any.
I know, but you'll like. I think you'll like
can
Kate's
be your own
question.
self.
I try every day. I think
Yeah,
you do a
yeah.
good
I
job
think
at it.
you do amazing. I saw you at
Thank you.
Coachella.
I know.
That was.
Oh yeah.
That was Max to the full.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, God. That's a full other episode we can get
Okay.
on. To.
Exactly.
Okay, Kate, hit him with the question.
Oh, so quick fire questions.
Okay.
First one: if Kanye West was a food, what would he be?
If Kanye was a food, shit, eggplant.
What's your go-to burger order?
My go-to burger order,
Which is kind of
shit.
weird to now be talking.
Yeah. I ain't eating no more burgers. Man.
That
Cheeseburgers.
No more
Cheeseburgers. No more
cheeseburgers.
cheeseburgers.
Okay, what's your go-to cocktail? You have one cocktail for the rest of your life. What is it?
Love on the Rocks. That's not a drink. That was just a stupid.
I was
thing.
like, and I'm like,
sounded
oh, I was
like
like,
it,
what?
yeah, it
What
was
is
like-
in that drink?
That's a drink. That's a
That
drink.
sounds like
I'll
something I
create
wanna
that
drink.
drink, and that'll be the drink for the rest of my life.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had a sandwich named after you, what would be in that sandwich?
Oh shit, that would be Poppy in the middle.
But what would be in it?
Oh shit, I'd be in the middle of that motherfucker. There it is.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Thank you for obviously the time to sit down with us. What are your social handles and where can people find you online?
Broken underscore bread is the all that shit titled, all the social titles for Broken Bread the show. Brokenbread.tv is where you can get to the website. I'm riding shotgun LA. You got the Kogi truck, Kogi BBQ.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chef. Thank you to our producer, director, Darren Bresnitz, our EP, Jay Holzer, our line producer, Ryan Diddy,
Our director of production, Michael Gora, and our associate producer,
Michael Walker.
That's it.
That's it. It's a wrap.